Hello legends, welcome back to the channel and thanks for being here. If you haven't caught the first video, this is part of a series of videos that I'm making on how to build a small mini truck on a budget. So we're going to keep this cheap and simple so that we create something fun and that we don't have a lot invested in, and hopefully something we can do quickly. I'm not going to go over everything that I've covered in the first video. If you want, make sure that you go ahead and check out the first video to see the introduction on this car. But short and sweet, it's basically a rundown, beat up little mini truck that I'm hoping to restore on a budget and do it quickly. So if you want to see how I build this truck, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and click the bell to see when the next video comes out. And maybe you'll learn something along the way. Maybe you'll see what I do and want to do it differently, or maybe you'll learn something the way I'm going to while I'm doing this. There's certainly several jobs that I'm going to do here that I've never done before, so I'm going to learn a lot and I hope you learn along with me. But that's enough of an intro, enough chit chat. Roll the graphics and let's get to work. Alright, let's have a closer look at this bonnet. So this here is a very large rust spot that I can see on the bonnet, and from the looks of it, the paint has completely gone and the moisture is eating away at the metal, which is turning into rust and flowing away from the car. From what I can tell, this car has had a respray at some point, because you can see the paint flaking off of there. I'm going to sand this back. It looks like it's quite solid. I'm going to see what happens. And then at that point, I probably will have made a clean spot. So I'm likely going to have to do this whole bonnet, which I kind of want to do anyway. So anyway, let's get started. So I've got that major rust spot off the bonnet, and let me show you. So there it is. What I've done is ground it back with a wire brush on a drill bit. I've just got a bunch of different wire brushes, nothing fancy. So I've ground that rust spot back, and then I've hit it with a rust converter. So I've just covered that there. Now I've done the same thing over here in the corner, and I started sanding back all the other little rust spots along the edge of this quarter. I'm aware that rust converter is not a primer. I won't be using it as a primer. All I'm doing is covering the rust spots, and then I'll sand all of this back, and then I'll apply a primer, an etch primer to start with, since we're going to be bonding to metal. But that's the start of the process, and as you can see, there's quite a little bit to sand back, so this thing is going to need some paint at some point. All right, let's keep going. There we go. So the rust converter is now doing its job. I'm going to leave this and let it dry, and at some point I'm going to sand all of this back, and I won't bore you with recording that as well. I'm just going to cut to some time in the future when that is done. Alright legends, it's the next day here, so let me show you what we're up to. I decided to take the front guard off, and I've also removed the front grille, and I'm in the process of taking off the headlight surrounds and a few other bits as well. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because what I found with the rust is some of it goes past the body panels and to some of this structure, some of this chassis. So remove the cowl, the front bumper, just so I can get to some of this. I'm going to sand this back and give it some rust converter. And then what I might do is paint all of this black and then that way I think there will be an extra layer of protection between the metal, the rust converter, and then another coat of paint. Now if you recall, I went ahead and rust converted a lot of these sanded back spots. Now I've done that to the front quarter over here. I've also done it to this door. After I did that, I've hit this panel with some edge primer. Now I removed the trim, the door handle, the door lock, so that I can work a lot more easily. I've got some issues over here. I'll show you this, where the rust is in the back of the cabin and it's against the tray. So before I can get to that, what I'm going to need to do is remove this tray completely. Now from what I've heard, it's not too difficult. It's a few bolts and then a couple of guys should be able to lift this off, but never done it, so we'll see whether that's actually the case. So right now all I'm doing is I'm going over the doors, I'm going over the cabin, and I'm just checking for any rust spots, and if there are any major ones, I'm going to grind them back and apply some rust converter. If I find some rust holes, if they're tiny, I'm just going to fill them. If they're larger, I might have to crack out the welder. This is all structural, but I'm glad I took the cowl off, because this will allow me to give it a rust conversion coat and then a coat of paint, and then that should be good to go for quite a while. All right, I'm gonna put you on time lapse. Time to do some more work. It's only a few bolts that hold these quarter panels on, but this is why it's a good idea. Just take a look at this. Completely and absolutely filled with, well, there's no other way to describe it but earth, soil. If you need something for your garden, get some out of your front fenders. I'm thinking that what needs to happen here is, because I'm painting the chassis itself as well as all the exterior panels, obviously, I'm gonna need to paint the chassis first and then paint the panels and reattach the panels. If I take all of the panels off of the car right now, when it comes time for reassembly, I'm gonna have quite a time to get everything to align back up straight. So yeah, I'll leave the hood on for now, put the quarter panels back on, align them true, and then I'll take the hood off, and then I'll have the quarter panels already on the car when I need to realign the hood. That's the plan anyway. So that's getting pretty good. I'm getting most of this stuff out of here. I'm obviously going to hose it all out once I get a little bit more of it out. And just a side note, so you're dealing with sharp metal here. So what you want to do is get yourself a good pair of cut-proof gloves. Now, you don't need to go ridiculous on cut-proof gloves. About a cut 3 should do it. You're not dealing with broken glass here. But let me show you what I mean. So cut-proof glove is woven, and if you can see the little white fibers, so they're a material. I actually can't recall what it is. It's Linex or something, Kevlar. I can't quite recall, but that white fabric, which if you look on the inside is on the inside there, so that white fabric is cut-proof. A knife or sharp objects cannot cut it. So you definitely want a pair of these when you're dealing with, you know, rusty old metal, etc. I mean, you don't want a tetanus shot after this, right? So the ones I'm using are a cut 3, and they're very good. They're also lined with nitrile, so they're extra grippy. And and waterproof on this side as well, which is an extra bonus. And on this side they're open so that it allows your hand to breathe so it doesn't sweat. So yeah, really good gloves. Definitely don't use rubber gloves here or nitrile gloves, because as you go along, as you touch edges here, especially sharp edges like this is very sharp underneath here, it will cut the gloves open, and then you're constantly going to be wondering, why are my gloves always broken? These are crappy gloves. Well, it's not the gloves that are crappy, it's that you're maybe not using it for the right purpose. Really, you want one of these, all right? So nitrile coated for a little bit of water resistance, for extra grip as well. And then you want the fabric to be cut proof, all right? I'll leave a link in the description if you want one of these. But yeah, I'll remove all these little rubber grommets now, all these coverings, etc., so that I can come in here and give it a good sand. So yeah, as you can see, I'm absolutely unafraid of cutting myself. There's no problems whatsoever. Good gloves. What are you doing?
Trying to find something to do.
Are you bored?
What?
Hmm?
I could actually go knock on Dakota's door.
Where are your friends?
Well,
Are they inside?
I could actually knock on Dakota's door.
To see if she wants to come in.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. It's starting to get windy here, so I'm gonna stop painting. The last thing I'll do for today is take off this bumper. Alright, so that's going to do it for today and this video. We've made lots of progress and the rust in this area is pretty much gone. In the next video, we'll start addressing the panels and get to sanding and painting. If you'd like to see how we get on with this little mini truck, please subscribe and click the bell to be notified when the next video is available. Also, if you liked what you saw today, please give the video a like and comment below if you have any suggestions on how to get this little nugget painted. But that's enough chit chat for now. I'll see you in the next one.